we're gonna start with some hypothetical Browns trades. These were bouncing around the internet. 2 of them that we saw that really drew our attention. Obviously, they need a wide receiver, but they need defensive tackle. And most of the experts we've had on say the D-line is the more pressing need. So it's likely that they'll immediately address their D-line needs with the draft, and they may use free agency or perhaps a trade to try to improve their wide receiver core. Here's 2 that caught our eyes. Greg Newsome and a third to Denver for Jerry Jeudy. You doing that if you're Cleveland? Because I can't make that trade fast enough.
Yeah, I would. I mean, certainly, yeah, you would. Greg Newsome. Greg Newsome had an okay year, but he's unhappy being a slot corner, and they have 2 corners that are better than him. So
he's not cracking that lineup here.
No. So I mean, you need 3 good corners, especially, in this AFC. With the Bills and the Bengals and the Chiefs and the Jaguars now probably. But he is expendable and Jerry Jeudy's young. Now,
you sound like you're just a bit waffling. Like, I'm all, when I saw that, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I'll do that right now.
No, I'm not waffling. I'm thinking about the other trade, and I like the other trade. I actually like the other trade better.
So we'll get to the second one in a minute, but you would do this.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not doing that.
You're not?
No, I'm not. Let me tell you why I'm not doing it, right? Because, I don't know, I follow Russell Wilson, right? And I was watching this all year, right? And I could never understand why Russell Wilson and Jerry Jeudy could not get on the same page at all, right? And some of it was obviously Russell Wilson's fault.
Yeah.
And some of it, like, I was looking at the game, like, what is Jerry Jeudy doing? Why? I didn't see nothing worth. And I get what you're trying to get. You're trying to get a guy to take the top off. I got that, right? And then, am I willing to give up Newsome? When we get to the other scenario, I appreciate the other scenario much more than I appreciate that scenario.
The thing with Jeudy, he hasn't put up huge numbers yet in his career. These, pretty good numbers, but nothing huge. But I look at it, I put most of the blame last year on the coach and Russell Wilson. I don't put much on Jerry Jeudy. And he's young. I mean, he's only like 25 years old. So to get a guy who still has upside from because remember, even if you want to say Russell Wilson's a good quarterback, which he wasn't last year, but he was in the past, before that, Jerry Jeudy played with complete scrubs in Denver.
Yeah,
so
and did okay.
And did fine. Like, he hasn't put up superstar numbers.
No, he's not. I don't think he's a tier 1 guy, but to me, he's a number 2.
Like a number 2 receiver or a tier 2 player?
No, a number 2 receiver.
Oh, yeah, he might even. I actually think he's a lower tier number 1 receiver.
Well, he's not going to come in here and take catches.
Well, I mean,
away from Cooper, is he?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess not. But I mean, he's going to get a ton of catches. If he came in here and Deshaun Watson gets back to being the player at this point, and
he might help him,
then I think Jerry Jeudy would be. I'm expecting him to have 1,300 yards with double-digit touchdowns. I mean, I'm expecting Jeudy. I would think Jeudy and Cooper would be neck and neck.
Okay.
I think Judy's.
That's great.
I think Judy's upside to me is higher than what Amari Cooper is now.
Because of age.
Because of age, yeah.
Okay. G, you doing that?
Bringing this over here to the Duke. Bring it over to the Duke. Y'all was
there goes that knee.
Yeah, there it is. My knees is over here moving fast. I tell you what, I can't run fast enough to the podium and turn this in. What you talking about? Greg Newsome for Jerry Jeudy? Under any circumstances, I'm running up there with that. And hey, you want a conditional 7th too? I got conditional picks too. You tell him, Greg Newsome. I like Greg Newsome, but for me, he lacks ball skills. I'm not getting no turnovers from Greg Newsome. I saw you all year at the wide corner position, right? And if you really want to come down to the get down, when you look at Martin Emerson come in, Martin Emerson took his position.
Where you taking him to the get down?
When you get down to the get down.
Okay, get down to the get down.
Get down to the
brass
get down.
tacks, where the rubber meets the road.
Martin Emerson came in, was like, this is my minutes, and I'm a 3rd-round pick.
He said, give me
those.
Give me that.
Chris Brown, give me that.
And he did that. Newsome was established.
Yeah, he was established.
We like Newsome.
Do it one more time. Give me that.
And you got to use the wrist. Get over here. You saw a guy used to get snatched.
He just took his job.
I get snatched at the grocery store all the time. Get over here.
Give them great.
I'm with you, G. Bush. I can't do this fast enough. And I don't know that I like this one better than the one we're going to announce here in a second.
I don't think this one has any chance of happening.
No.
Yeah, I'm not sure either one of these do. Although I know Cooks has been passed around.
Well,
it's crazy how much this guy's been passed around.
I'm going to avoid that
And
metaphor.
I've always asked myself this.
Why?
The talent doesn't match up with the back of the football card.
Why?
And I don't mean the numbers.
Right.
I mean all of the teams. Like, usually dudes like this are commodities, and they tend to hold on to these commodities.
Right.
But New England and New Orleans
LA.
and now Houston, it's just like, what
What are we missing?
is it a locker room issue? And I've asked players that have played with him, and they're like, no, not really. He's a good dude. So I don't know why he's passed around as much as he is.
Right.
But we'll get to the second one in a second. I would do both. I would do this one.
This is bothering me.
You touched on it, Bull. He's not happy here. I think you said that. It's either you or G said he's not happy.
Yeah, I said
here.
he's not happy being a
He's
slot
not-
corner.
He doesn't want to be a slot corner,
Yeah.
and guess what? That's what he's going to be in Cleveland. I mean, Emerson snatched it, and he's got it on lock now. So I don't even know that it's a situation where he can come in and show Schwartz that he can be that guy. Emerson is just bigger. He has better ball skills for sure.
Way better ball
I think he
skills.
has better cover skills. I just think that he's in a spot here where if he's not happy and you know he's not happy, then move on from him because you don't want things to fester. And if you can get a Jerry Jeudy type with a third thrown in, I say do it.
And Jeudy makes a much more impact on this season than a corner. I know you need 3 good corners, but if you would ask me, would you rather have 3 great receivers or 3 great corners?
3 great receivers.
Give me them
The
receivers.
bottom line, though, is Denver just hired Sean Payton. to
Yeah,
be
this
their
ain't
new
gonna happen.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna
He
happen.
ain't trading Jerry Jeudy, especially because they might cut Cortland Sutton as a cap casualty.
Yeah.
So he's not going to get rid of both.
And think
his
about it. I mean,
receivers.
why would you handcuff Russ
Right.
by getting rid of your number
They're
one
not,
receiver?
Whereas the Texans, when we get to that deal,
Yeah.
they're starting over.
Right.
The
Yeah,
Broncos
I agree with you.
are trying. Their hope is that Sean Payton could get Russell Wilson back to what he was in Seattle.
Correct.
And so they're not going to give up his best receiver.
So, and by the way, Houston already has a bunch of our draft picks, so why not give them a couple of thirds? Because that is the trade scenario.
Can
It
I
is.
can I ask you this too? You say cap casualties.
Yeah.
Is there any chance Michael Thomas is a cap casualty?
Yes.
And would you take him?
I would take him in a heartbeat.
Well, but I can't trust him.
He
I'll
stay
take
hurt.
him.
He stay hurt.
He hasn't played for 3
I know,
years.
I know, but I'm going to roll the
essentially.
dice.
But I'm
'cause
rolling the dice on him.
The talent is
What do I got to
there.
pay him?
Well, probably not what his old deal was, because the availability is the biggest thing.
I
in
am
question
not
here.
going to. Would I take Michael Thomas on the Browns? Of course I would take Michael Thomas
Yeah.
on the Browns. Would I rely on him being the key wide receiver I get this offseason? Absolutely not.
No, and I don't think that would be the case. If you brought Michael Thomas in, I think you get whatever you get out of him, and it's a bonus.
Right.
But I definitely wouldn't say that he's the tent pole now of our wide
No,
receiver.
Right.
no. I think there's.
So-
I'll tell you another guy who's very interesting, who could be a cap casualty before we get this other trade, is Keenan Allen.
Yeah, Keenan's older, isn't he?
Right, but he-
Well, he's
Like, he's
31,
older than Michael
32.
Thomas.
Sure, but he hasn't missed 3 years like
No,
Michael Thomas
you're
has.
right.
You know.
So
We
it's a
keep
qu-
talking about them needing speed, though.
That's
And
true.
Michael Thomas and Keenan Allen, who
No.
are both very good players.
They're
so we have
possession
addressed
guys.
the
Brandon
speed
Cooks.
issue.
Brandon Cooks
Brandon
can take
Cooks
the
does.
top off of a
Yes.
defense, and that's
Yes.
why I like him a lot. And that's what this trade is. Trade number 2, this year's third and next year's third to the Texans for Brandon Cooks. I think we all like that one more than the Jerry Jeudy, right?
I'm ready to go with that.
Yeah,
right
I mean-
now. Today.
Brandon Cooks and Jerry Jeudy obviously Brandon Cooks is older, so you'd rather have Jerry Jeudy from an age standpoint.
Yeah.
In terms of production, they're close. I mean, Brandon Cooks has had a couple of 1,000-yard seasons. Jerry Jeudy has not. I think Jerry Jeudy certainly has some upside that Cooks does not. However, in this case, I'm giving up 2 third-round picks as opposed to a proven, solid player. Now, if Greg Newsome doesn't want to be here, yeah, maybe I say to the Texans, well, we'll give you Greg Newsome instead of one of the draft picks.
Right.
But I've always been a fan of Cooks. Last year was a mess for him. He was very unhappy there. He wanted out. He didn't play the full season. He got hurt. He did miss a few games last year. I don't know how many he missed, but the guy's always had big-time speed, even at his age. And he has that chemistry with Deshaun Watson because they played together.
Yeah, which is why I like that one better too.
Which is I agree with. Sometimes you have to align people with people they're familiar with, right?
Right.
And you just have to let that magic be what it is, right? And I know he's older. I
Yeah.
know that comparison age to Jeudy is the differential, but sometimes you just have to put people in a place they're familiar with people. And that way the magic comes out. He said, I can trust him. I'm going to throw this ball to him.
Right.
And I believe that he can make a play because I have done it with him in the past.
And if you get him, now you set yourself up to feel good about some of your other guys that ain't showed up nothing. Like if I can get Anthony Schwartz to catch a couple tunnel passes or reverses or something, you're like, okay, well, I got Brandin Cooks, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and
You still on that train?
oh, well, they probably gonna keep him. Yeah.
Who?
They're gonna keep Schwartz. They're gonna keep him.
Why?
No way.
Schwartz?
Why?
No, he's gonna.
What
be
you
gone.
mean? Who has Barry cut of his?
Yeah, but by now it's year 4. You got to start cutting
I
some
mean,
guys.
so here's the one thing that you look at. I'm looking at it from a standpoint of he's a receiver. He shouldn't be no receiver. He's a running back. That's what Anthony
I
Schwartz
think he's
is.
a nothing.
That's what
Anthony Schwartz is what?
he is a running back. He is a running back standing up. When you watch Kansas City, they got about 10 of them dudes. Mecole Hardman's one of them. These dudes are running backs that split out wide, that run around and do jet motion stuff. For me, if you can find something out of him because he's fast, sure. But I look at Demetrius Felton the same way. He's not a running back. He's more of a tweener type guy. Tweener. So if you can get something out of him, all right, well, cool. I feel good about that because you got 3 established receivers, 3 guys that you know gonna catch the ball. You got a number 1. You got somebody that can get you deep. And for a 3 this year, and a sneaky move is that next 3 is next year's. I'm taking that
Yeah.
because I'm
By the
only
way-
losing 3 this year.
By the way, I've been a big defender of Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think he's a decent wide receiver. But the Browns are coming up to a decision on him and what they're going to have to do.
Well, didn't he make that decision easier with the year that I thought he had a good step
He
forward
did,
last year.
but like I saw some people saying, "Well, you're going to have to pay him $12 million a year." I'm like, I'm not paying him $12 million a year.
No, I think that's absurd.
I think about like the comparison of the contract the Bengals signed Tyler Boyd to a few years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tyler Boyd got just under $11 million a season as to be the Bengals. At the time, he was their number 1 receiver, but he wasn't really a number 1 receiver.
Right.
He's really a 3. But I'm like, I know it was a couple of years ago, but to me, Tyler Boyd's way better than Donovan Peoples-Jones, and he didn't get $12 million. I know it was a few years ago. The prices go up. If I could re-sign Donovan Peoples-Jones for like $7-8 million a year, I'll do it.
Is he a free agent this year?
No, he's got 1 more year.
Oh, if he blows, he got to prove it again.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay him now. I don't think there's any
well, you don't
rush
have
to extend him.
No, I wouldn't either. There's
Yeah.
no need to extend.
You got to get about 11.
I definitely do want to see it another year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here's the thing: if they bring in a receiver like Brandin Cooks, his production may well go back.
Right. Well, if they bring somebody of that level or higher, he
Yeah.
becomes their 4th option because Njoku's probably their 3rd option behind.
You're likely right.
Right.
This is his last year before free agency, by the way.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I said.
Okay. Yeah.
Does anybody have any other trades that they would like to throw out there? Anybody that you'd like to make a move for at the wide receiver spot that you think maybe the Browns could pry away from someone?
Some of the other guys that I'm interested in are not necessarily speed guys. Like people have mentioned DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Evans has been mentioned, not necessarily speed guys. I love the idea of trying to make a big trade for DK Metcalf, although I doubt the Seahawks would do it, and you'd have to give up a lot to get him.
Well, wasn't he unhappy there last year?
He was.
So, I mean, it might be a situation, too, like Greg
Yeah.
Newsom here.
He was unhappy before the season. 'cause he
you're
didn't like
right.
them trading
Right, he
Wilson,
didn't like
but then
Rutt.
him and Geno Smith turned
Yeah.
the corner.
So
and
he's good now.
I
He seems-
assume
Geno- He's pretty happy, yeah.
Geno he was the comeback player of the year for me.
I doubt the Seahawks would trade him, but if I'm the Browns, I'm making the call.
I think you're going to get a haul for DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to give up. I mean, the Browns don't have 1st-round picks. They have to give up 1st-round pick in 2025, whatever it is.
If
Yeah.
John Watson is listening, hey, listen, don't feel bad about going to get your boys, bro. If DeAndre Hopkins is around here hanging out, chilling, and they want something for him, you tell them, hey, you got.
I don't want Hopkins.
Hey,
personally.
I will take DeAndre Hopkins because he gets open. I know he's gonna be open. I watch these games in the playoffs. If you throw a football in the air, who you got more confidence in catching it, DPJ or DeAndre Hopkins?
I just think there's better options than Hopkins at this point in their.
I'm worried about the age. I'm worried about, last year. That's
Yeah.
kind of a trouble.
Yeah.
It's a red flag for me.
Steve texted us. He's like, "Well, DK Metcalf's making a ton of money." Yeah, I don't care. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you inherit
the
that.
Browns went all in when they traded for Deshaun Watson. You pushed all your chips to the table.
You're right.
You can't half-ass it now.
No, you gotta bring in whatever pieces.
That's right.
You need to put around.
Can you imagine
the fillet now?
If I think it's very unlikely they could get DK Metcalf, but can you imagine if Deshaun Watson is even close to what he was in Houston and you added DK Metcalf,
Wow.
I mean, this offense would be one of the best in the league.
You know what they used to say in the old movie? You remember the movie? It was like this. Oh, so now you want to step with the big dogs.
Yeah, now you want to step
with the big dogs. Well,
Yeah.
Cleveland, don't backstep now.
That's right.
You went
Let's
all
go.
the way to Washington.
And guess what?
You want to start with the big dogs.
And
get
we
off the
let you
porch.
and we
And they're off the
let
porch.
and we let you get away with it last year because you punted.
Gentleman's
it was
punt.
a gentleman's punt on the season. You brought nobody in of note. Now you want to get here and be like, but we don't got no money.
No, well, hold on. I thought you was with the big dogs.
Yeah, I thought you got all the
I
first
told you on the
picks.
plane what I had. You have the major league and the minor league in the tuck game. Which league you in? Because you got Watson, you act like you're in the major league, but you really want to be in the minor. Which one is it going to be?
You got it. And even
Pick
if
your
it's
poison.
a wrong move, sometimes when you paint it against a corner, I always tell people, sometimes it's about what they're going to give you. I done made the car analogy. I can go to that car lot and have the greatest intentions in the world, thinking I'm about to go get one of these nice cars.
Look.
But I leave out of there with the 25% interest rate and with a 2016. And you'd be like, G. Bush, you overpaid. Well, that's the only car I could have got.
Here, the major
I need
league
to go to work.
The major league was a $5, $10 bet hand. The minor league was a $5 or $10 bet hand.
Yeah.
The major league was a $250 to $500 bet hand.
Yeah, you're at the big boy table.
You're at the big boy table. Don't be.
I mean, look what the Mets are doing. I know it's a different sport, obviously,
Yeah.
but the Mets just keep adding these nuclear weapons. And, sometimes in sports, just because you have one nuclear weapon, it's a team sport.
Yes, it
You're
is.
going to need some other arsenal to go with that, and that's going to come at a price.
And
And
you
I'm
got-
with you. Screw the price. Pay it.
That's it.
You
I
know?
mean, if you hadn't made the trade for Watson, then we could argue building it through the draft and all.
Right.
We don't have time for that nonsense.
No,
and by
we
the
don't.
way, I don't got time to you got to get it right now, because if they don't get it right now, Stefanski's getting fired, Berry's getting fired, maybe Deep I don't know. They're all got to go.
And here's another fear. Myles Garrett is more likely to leave if he has to go
Nick
through
Chubb.
another losing season here.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb is likely to leave if he has to go through another losing season here.
Yeah.
So this whole experiment is in the balance. And you even brought this up. It's not just next year. It's like the first 6 games.
Yeah.
You roll out 2 and 4, you might not see week 7.
This season, the Browns ascend to being a playoff team, or it all goes off the rails. Because
Right.
if they don't win, or if Watson's not the quarterback we thought he was, it's a disaster. There's no other way to put it. Because everybody's going to get fired. You're right, Myles Garrett's going to want to be traded. They're going to look at Nick Chubb and say, we might as well move on. Why pay a lot of money to Nick Chubb when we're not winning?
You heard that talk this
Bitonio's
week.
going to be gone.
And then
They'll cut him.
what's the point of having Deshaun Watson at all that money?
It'll be a total disaster.
What-
This year is everything.
What is the
It
talk?
is.
What's this talk with this week talking about Chubb getting trading Chubb? What is the nonsense?
Well, he was on Twitter. Twitter, Chubb was like,
he said, I'm tired
of
of
watching,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
I'm
We're not-
tired of watching.
So what you're going to have, Brad, is a situation, and we were lucky and spoiled with Joe Thomas. Not only did Joe Thomas never go and ask to be traded, when the Browns had a deal that they liked and brought it to Joe that would have won Joe a Super Bowl in Denver with Peyton Manning, Joe said, no, I'm loyal, I'm staying home.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee. We can't expect that Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett are going to want to play their whole career in a sloppy pig pen.
Yeah.
Those guys see where the
All
money's
fair.
made. They
All
want to
fair.
go make playoff runs and
All
win
fair.
Super Bowl rings.
That's right. And Myles Garrett especially, we know.
he's gone.
If it doesn't turn around this year, he wants out.
I believe
now, we don't
you're
know
right.
that about Nick Chubb. For sure, even with that tweet, I don't know if it necessarily means he wants out. But Myles Garrett is asking out if he
And
don't.
for the fans, don't get mad. Don't get mad telling people they not loyal. Don't get mad that, because I keep trying to tell you, which is it easier to find? Another head coach or a franchise pass rusher? Which is it easier to find? A potential Hall of Fame running back or another coach? They punted. They could have got rid of the defensive coordinator. They could have did a lot of moves last year, but everybody want to rest on continuity. So don't get all upset when people want to leave and go do something and be better and win when we've been losing for 40 years.
I will say this, in terms of a Nick Chubb trade, I doubt he's going to get traded. The reality is he's worth more to the Browns than he is in the trade market, even if you did
Agreed.
want to trade
Because
him.
of the undervalue that
Right.
great running backs
Agreed.
have.
The only
That's what I
You
was
made a
going.
great point. You
Agreed.
said, which of the last couple of Super Bowl winners have had that
Nobody.
top-tier running back?
Nobody.
I saw a crazy stat. The last 7 Super Bowls, so the 2 teams in each, so 14 teams, No team has paid a running back more than $4 million a year.
That's not true.
I
Joe
thought-
Mixon was making more than $4 million last year.
He's still on his rookie contract.
No, he's not.
He was. Yes, he was.
No, he was
I'll pull up
not.
the stat right here.
Joe
My
Mixon
boy
had
Ben Axelrod.
signed an extension before last year.
Did it kick in, though?
What's that?
Had it kicked in?
Did it kick in? What were the terms of
I mean, I don't know what his base salary was from last year, but when he signed the extension, it was a couple of years ago he signed the extension. He's been in the league a while now at this
I'll
point.
find the tweet.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, find
that's
out
gotta
how
be
much he
wrong.
made last year.
The
Just
point is,
Google that.
the point is, he's not Joe Mixon's a good back, and he's probably the best back that's been in the Super Bowl in a while, or one of the best.
And I'm trying to just think from that point, even on the eye test, can you guys go back and think of any major running back that dominated Super Bowl? Like, oh my goodness, this guy's
Been a
killing
long
me.
time.
I can't.
Who? John Riggins?
Riggins or
Allen?
Marcus
Dude, you
Allen?
might be
Marcus
right.
Allen.
That's a long time
You
ago.
might be right. Even Emmett, when he was in the Super Bowl with the
Oh,
Cowboys.
I found it. Let me clarify.
Yeah.
It is the Super Bowl team's leading rusher plus base salary. So just the winners, excuse me.
Ah, okay. But
But
still,
it was Pacheco less than $1 million, Cam Akers less than $1 million, Fournette $2 million, Damian
this is-
Williams
this-
1.5,
this is
Sony
turning-
Michel, LeGarrette Blount less than $1 million, LeGarrette Blount even fewer the year before, C.J. Anderson, LeGarrette Blount,
even
Percy
the
Harvin,
losing teams, not a lot of big backs.
Marcus
But
Allen,
think about it.
Riggins,
Ray
yeah.
Rice, Ahmad Bradshaw, James Starks, Pierre
Think
Thomas.
about some of the best.
stunning.
Think about some of the best backs the last few years, right?
Yeah.
Nick Chubb has never gone to the Super Bowl.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick
not
Henry's
gone to
never
the
gone to the
Super
Super Bowl.
Bowl.
Christian
Christian
McCaffrey's
McCaffrey.
never gone to the Super Bowl. Jonathan Taylor for 2 years ago
Right.
didn't go anywhere close to the Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
unfortunately, he just pays the wrong position.
Adrian Peterson never went to the Super Bowl, right?
This is-
Saquon Barkley, nowhere. I mean, most of these guys haven't even gotten close.
This is a quarterback aired out,
Yeah.
ball movement type of game. So
Right.
and this is not Jim Brown's era. This is not O.J. Simpson. This is not that. We're not doing that anymore, right? And so Nick, I don't know if you're ever gonna get peeled off because they're not peeled off like they peeled off
Hey, this
before.
is the hottest take. You talk about me, the Duke of the Church. This is one of the hottest takes that ever has touched down on these airwaves. He said he gets peeled off.
Right. I said this.
Well, listen, when you figure out how winning teams are constructed,
Yeah.
and don't think for a second that the other 31 teams don't look at how
oh, there's no question.
this year's Super Bowl team was constructed. Part of the mix is you're not paying a lot of money.
I'm
for
not
your lead
investing the
running
money
back.
there.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
So it's a shell game. Where do we want to put it?
To that point, Jay, I would not be surprised if the Bengals cut Joe Mixon this year and get out of his money.
They're definitely going to cut Joe Mixon.
I think it's likely.
Definitely?
When
Yeah, he's gonna
when
get
you're
cut.
when you're running in small cylinder
Wow.
circles, right?
That's 2 in a row.
What I do if I'm an NFL scout, what I do is let me go to halfback university. Georgia going to always keep backs. Ohio State going to keep backs. I only need a person for a couple of years because I'm going to keep trading them out.
Wait, sure.
And I'll pay him low money and I put the money elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's not going to be the day of me having Jim Brown run for 9 years here, John Riggins for this type of that's not happening.
I was
anymore.
reading
It's over.
yesterday that the Giants, to keep Saquon Barkley, you have to pay him $15 million. I'm like, they'd
Let him
be
go.
out of their mind.
Gotta let him go.
Yeah.
There was talk about they're going to pay Daniel Jones $35 million and Saquon Barkley. You're going to spend $50 million on a mediocre
they
quarterback
can't
and
do
a
that.
running back who's been
Yeah,
injured.
but you know what?
prone?
I bet the Browns aren't far from that. Between Chubb and
They're paying more.
Deshaun Watson,
The difference
they're
is-
probably paying $50 million
True.
or
Riggins
more.
and Watson
The
got
I
it.
think
difference
it's
is,
50 by
in
himself.
theory,
So they're definitely paying more.
the difference is, in theory, Watson's going to be a top 10 quarterback,
Right.
and Daniel Jones will not be.
Right.
And certainly Nick Chubb's been more productive than
We're
Saquon
going to
Barkley.
have to move it to the NBA because we want to do
Yeah.
defense drivers, but I want to do one
Yeah.
thing real quick.
And then I got 1 point.
Okay, let's dive into the Nick Chubb tweet. Tired of watching. So Nick Chubb doesn't say anything. Never anything controversial. I believe that for him to cognitively go through the process of give me my phone,
Right.
typing out the words tired of watching, and then actually pressing send, to me, that's code red.
It's not
Because
unfair.
it's,
I mean, he
he's
sent
not
a message.
the kind of guy that just
No.
flippantly throws thoughts
No.
out on
And
social
I
media.
don't think that he is wrong in saying it, right?
I don't
Because,
either.
Hey, listen, Nick, bro, we tired of watching. I'm tired of turning on the Super
I'm
Bowl.
tired of watching him watch
I'm tired,
in the fourth
I'm
quarter
tired
when the
of-
game's on the
I'm
line.
tired of going to the playoff, watching everybody else but Cleveland be in the playoffs.
Right.
So I know he's got to be tired.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And then, like I said, okay, you want to be in the big dog league, right? You done this thing. You brought Watson in here. Didn't go all the way. Fill all the holes. Let's go. Throw caution to the wind this time. Let's go one
go.
time at the table.
Yeah.
What was your point, Mikey?
So just on running backs, real quick, and this is why Nick Chubb's more valuable to the Browns than anyone else. When we asked Dane what position groups are very strong on Wednesday, it's a tremendously strong running back group.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of guys that get drafted, and these are the free agent running backs this year alone. Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, first-team All-Pro, Tony Pollard, coming off in his best career year.
But a big injury.
David Montgomery and Miles Sanders. So just already between the draft and free agency, you have.
Well, you left out Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
Well, Kareem Hunt, he was
and by
listed
the
on
way,
the top 7.
because of that, their collective value goes down.
Exactly.
Supply and demand.
Yeah.
Right. There's not a lot of teams that are going to pay a ton of money for a running back. Barkley and Jacobs, I bet will get good amount of money, but that's it.
What did Troy say? He said about Watson and Chubb. You'll never get the full Watson with Chubb behind him.
Who said that?
The former
Troy Aikman?
No.
I thought you said Troy.
No, Troy. I forgot he was on the radio the other day, and he was talking about former NFL player. He said, "You'll never get the full Watson with Chubb behind him."
To that
He
point,
said you're going to either turn it over to Watson, or you'll never get the full deal.
I'll be watching a whole lot of weird stuff. Like, so they was just telling me in 200 million years, where would all the continents be? Right, I was watching that continental drift.
Oh, I saw that too.
Yeah.
You know where Cleveland was that length of time ago? We were south of the equator.
Yeah.
Florida's going to be underwater in 100 years.
Yeah. Ultra Pangea, right? They got a new one. It's 250 million years. Things drift, and they said, okay, cool. Well, I was looking at this in the evolutionary state of football, and actually got me thinking. In about 10 years from now, why would you even put a running back on the team? Why wouldn't you just go?
You mean like by committee, free agents bring them in?
No, I wouldn't put a guy back there. I would not have a running back.
Well, how'd that work for Tampa Bay this year?
Well, what I would do is I would have guys that was built like Jalen Hurts.
You talking about evolution?
Evolution, I would have a bigger quarterback, a Josh Allen that can run the football. And what I would do is when it got to short yardage, all I'm going to do is do a scrum play.
I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
I see where he's going.
20 years ago, there was 20 years ago there was a center that was you couldn't win anything without a center in the NBA.
Right.
Now they have phased that. They phased that person basically out.
But maybe you'll evolutionize into that. But I'll just bring up 2 quick examples. Tampa Bay just put their playbook in the hands of their defense. Every defense that played them, we're just going to throw the ball. We're not going to run it at all. And they had no success.
Right.
Well, they still made the playoffs.
They made the playoffs with a sub 500
yes,
record. In
but
a
they were
bad
still better
division.
than half the teams in the league.
Well, I don't know that that's true. We're more than half the
and
teams.
they didn't have a mobile quarterback.
My model would be
You're
more
right.
like
You're right,
Philadelphia.
Dad Brady.
Yeah.
But the other thing is Philadelphia advanced to the Super Bowl on the strength of their run game. And Kansas City wisely, everybody talks about Kansas City's offense. But Spagnuolo did something very, very, very smart, in my opinion. You're not going to run like that on us. We're going to make Hurts beat us. And the run game, which was so prominent for them all year, was gone.
Hurts
was the big part of their run game.
He got the run
game. I know he was, but collectively they moved the ball on the ground as well as anybody in the NFL this year. But Kansas City said, we're going to Belichick you. We're going to take your strength away. You're going to have to beat us with your secondary pitch.
I think Philadelphia had a bad game plan. Miles Sanders was their best back all year. They barely used him.
Well, because he wasn't getting anywhere.
No, but they didn't. How many carries did he have?
I don't know, but he wasn't getting anywhere.
He didn't have many carries, but something we didn't talk about, and I didn't see anyone really talk. He fumbled on the first carry he had. He fumbled out of bounds. Remember he got lit up by Justin Reed?
Yep.
I remember,
he fumbled, and I think he went in the doghouse.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is ridiculous.
How many carries did he end up with, Mike?
I'll look it up right now.
I'd say 12.
The guy's been your. I don't even think he had 12.
You don't think he had 12?
No.
No way. He had.
You can't give up on your best back.
Miles Sanders had 7 carries.
Yeah.
For how many yards?
16, and his longest rush was the first one where he fumbled.
Yeah, but how do you give up on your best back after 7 carries when you
I
had
think
the
they put
lead?
him in the doghouse.
That's ridiculous. That was
But
bad coaching.
That's like Belichick lost the Super Bowl to Philly 5 years ago because he put one of his best defensive backs in the doghouse.
Makes no sense.
I would be interested in seeing the way the game is played. There's always somebody that comes in and does something. When I played, somebody said, could you play now? I said, well, probably not. I probably wouldn't even play a different position. You look at safeties. Safeties are no longer valued. To be truthful, if I was a guy back there, I would never play a safety that hits. I would play only corners. I'd play 4 corners in the backfield because you can't hit nobody hard anyway. I need guys to be able to play the ball.
You want, and essentially what you're saying is have a wide receiver that can occasionally play running back.
Yes.
Basically.
There you go.
Yes.
So now I
like
don't
a Deebo Samuel.
There it is. And you look at the 49ers, and they do it, and it works.
But you see that these best receivers, you could throw Justin Jefferson back there. You could throw Jamar Chase back there. You could do it with these top guys.
What's the guy who
Well, Christian McCaffrey could be a wide receiver that also doubles as a running back.
For Atlanta? Who was his name?
Cordell Patterson.
Cordell Patterson.
Right.
Was a running back and a return guy.
No,
wide receiver and a return guy.
They made him a running back.
I just want to go back to where G was before we flip the script here. So, this is a copycat league. All sports are copycats. You see some winning formulas, people emulate them. This is what they do, right? So, to your point, of the 11 black starting quarterbacks in NFL last year, let me just name them, and you tell me what the similarities are. Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Jameis Winston, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Geno Smith, Trey Lance, Jacoby Brissett. All but one of them really can get in the wind and raise dirt on the ground.
Yep.
Well, Jameis Winston can.
No, but
everybody but Jacoby.
Well, neither can Jacoby.
No,
No,
he
I left
was the
him
one
off the
that he
list.
was leaving out.
There's another guy you mentioned who's not. Dak can't run anymore either.
Dak doesn't run.
Well, after
He
the
used
injury.
to, but since his
before
injury,
the
he
injury.
can't
But
run
I'm saying,
anymore.
but this is the trending that I'm talking about
Yeah.
because this is what phases out the
Well,
running
hell,
back.
the white quarterback, Josh
The white
Allen,
quarterbacks all
Justin
run
Herbert.
too.
Yeah,
those
they
guys can tuck and run too.
They all-
Who's a
everybody
quarterback?
run.
Like, to
Everybody
me,
run.
are there any quarterbacks that are any good under the age of 30 that can't run at least a little?
The only one was Tom Brady, and Tom Brady was just the anomaly.
Right. But
Tom-
all these quarterbacks that are coming in, black or white,
you better be
they're
able to
all
run.
at least a little. That was the problem with Baker. One of the problems is
Not
he's
mobile
not
enough.
mobile.
And
Yeah.
you know what's messing up? They used to say, back in the day, man. We used to go. They say, man, listen, everybody is built. Everybody is thick now. And when you go on these campuses, you're like, when did all these women become thick? Everybody is thick. I don't know if you at the rec center doing what you do, but as a salute to y'all. Even when I watch the games in college, Stetson Bennett is moving away from people.
Yeah.
Stetson Bennett picks him up. I'm like, hey, this ain't no. Stetson Bennett will take off and score in the SEC, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Everybody
the
now
quarterback
got
has
something.
become the proverbial halfback here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's a hybrid position
right.
for
So,
sure.
think-
so now
I mean-
I don't need you. I don't need to pay you $10 million behind me.
The only quarterbacks I can think of that are not really mobile, that are any good, are at this point I'd say Dak. He's not mobile at all.
Right.
Kirk Cousins is not mobile.
No.
He's a decent quarterback, but he's not mobile.
Aaron Rodgers
Rodgers
now is not.
But Aaron Rodgers is old. He was
Right.
mobile.
But he
But
was
he's not
one of the
now.
most athletic quarterbacks.
But all these other quarterbacks, you mentioned a bunch. Herbert, mobile. Allen, mobile.
Yeah.
Burrow, mobile.
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones,
Yeah.
mobile.
Oh, don't James Jones. is
Kirk
fast.
Cousins not mobile. He's one of the guys.
I
who
just
really-
mentioned
Yeah, Kirk is not.
Oh, you say Kirk, sorry.
But
This
I'd
is-
say 26 of the 32.
Most of them are.
can tuck the ball and run at any point.
This is where it's trending, right?
Yeah.
And so, I wouldn't be wasting the money on no halfback. I'm not.
Well, that's one of the reasons
The
why
days
their
of the
draft
statue
value and
quarterback-
their free agent
Yeah.
signings has
The
gone
days
down.
of the statue quarterback are over.